Hey, beautiful people. How are you doing? This is Simone Brown from Aspire to Inspire, your parent coach, youth mentor, and motivational speaker. How have you guys been? I hope you've enjoyed the previous episodes and you've been able to do some of the activities and think questions that I have left for you. And if you have and you've got any questions or any comments, please feel free to add them below. I'll be more than happy to answer them. So last time I left you, we was giving a clear instruction. And the reason why we give a clear instruction, because we want to let our children know what is expected of them, what we want to see and what we want to hear. And the reason why we do this is that so they can have a better understanding of the expectation and they will feel confident in executing what you've asked them to do. Why? Because it's clear. And we give a clear instruction because it is part of building their self-discipline and also their self-esteem. Now, the clear instructions is part of the process of discipline, and it's number 2. Can you remember what number 1 is? Modeling. Exactly. So if we model giving a clear instruction, our children will model giving a clear instruction. They will think about what it is that they want to see or hear, and they will articulate it in that way also. So today we're going to be talking about the cycle of life. Now, the cycle of life is the phase for every living thing. And it's our responsibility as parents and as a community to support our children and one another through each phase of the cycle. So there's 4 phases to the cycle. The first one is early childhood, late childhood, adulthood, and elderhood. And we're going to put some numbers for each phase of the cycle, okay? But let's look at during early childhood. So during early childhood, which I would say starts from the womb up until maybe around 7 years old. That's what I believe it to be. You may differ, and that's okay. But what's more important is what we as adults, what we as the community should be providing to those who are within this age group, who are within the early childhood cycle. So during early childhood, children should feel welcomed into the family and community and made to feel safe and secure. They should be taught that they have a positive purpose based on their ethnic, cultural, family, and spiritual roots. Now, this is very important because when a child comes into the household, when a new baby is born, there's this excitement, everybody wants to get involved. Then as the child gets older, maybe there's less people involved, there's less excitement, obviously because it gets a bit challenging. But there's some things that we don't want to take away. We don't want to take away creating a safe and secure environment. We want to provide a nurturing, a loving, a supportive environment. We also want to provide to our children during this phase the opportunity to explore their surroundings, explore who they are. We want them to engage with other children around that age so that they can develop. These are all part of the early childhood phases and responsibilities that we have as the parents and in the community. Not only that, we also want to think about maybe setting some rules, setting some boundaries, giving them an understanding of who they are, their family roots. We may also want to teach them and give them a bit of responsibility and a bit of independence. So we might even give them chores. We want them to learn financial literacy. So we start giving pocket money about this age. We reward, we praise. So there's many things that we do in this early childhood phase. And then as time progresses, our little womb to the age of 7 then become 8, and they enter into what is called late childhood. And late childhood, in my opinion, would be from 8 till about 17. Now, our responsibility as the parents and the community is the same: to provide support, to create a safe and secure environment, to nurture, to love, to set rules, set boundaries. But we do a little bit more here because children in this age group, they now have a sense of their own identity, of who they are. They may become a bit more challenging. puberty, their bodies are developing differently. Emotionally, they're going through a lot. There's more peer pressure. There's more reasons for them to conform to the outside and not maybe what the family is proposing. So we want to give them independence, but we also want to give them more responsibilities, because with freedom comes responsibility. Then we also have to help them to navigate through their relationships, their peerships. Oh, they might even like someone at school. How do we do that? How do we get them to open up about all the confusing things that's happening to their body? We listen more. We empathize more. We validate their feelings more. We create a space for them to share. And sometimes this doesn't happen. Sometimes we don't create a safe space to share. Sometimes we set too much boundaries, and maybe sometimes we don't have any boundaries at all. Maybe there's too much freedom. So how do we find the balance? But there's one thing that I do know, that we don't stop loving, we don't stop nurturing, we don't stop caring, we don't stop creating that safe and secure environment just because they're 8 or 9 or 10, or because they've started secondary school now, so they've got to man up. Nah. We continue to treat them, to mollycoddle them just a little bit in the late childhood phase. And then we do all of this, we help them to grow within their aspirations and their achievements and setting goals and building up their mental resilience. We do all of this so that when they move into adulthood, which is between 18 and 60, 60 because, that's pension age, that's why I put it there. So please don't feel offended. I had somebody once in my group who said, elderhood starts at 30. Shocking. I was like, no, I'm 30. There's no way it starts at 30. So I'm going to be nice and I'm going to put elderhood at 65 plus. So you're an adult still if you are 64, not an elder. But when they do move into adulthood, it's a little bit different. Our expectations are a bit different, aren't they? 18. Oh, you're 18 now, you're an adult, you can vote, you can do this. Our expectations as parents, our expectations as the community and society becomes a lot different. In fact, we kind of shove responsibility onto them, and it can be overwhelming, especially if we haven't developed them mentally. Especially if we haven't spoken to them what their career aspirations may be, their dream. What's their dream? Maybe we talked about education so much that they just don't want to know anything about education. I just want to travel the world and be free. But being free comes with responsibilities. So we want to help them navigate through that. And the way that we help them to navigate through that is maybe we increase the responsibility because they have more freedom now that they're adults. But we don't stop offering a safe and secure environment. We don't stop nurturing. We don't stop loving. Yeah, we don't stop setting boundaries. Their boundaries may change. But everything that we was doing in the early childhood and the late childhood, it should continue into adulthood. Until you may feel that you can just take your foot off the gas just slightly, but the door is always open for your children to come back to you and say, oh, Mum, Dad, let me know about this. Auntie, Uncle, let me know about this. Yeah? Are you seeing where we're going with this? Yes. And sometimes the cycle of life can get disrupted. Sometimes our children experience trauma. Maybe they're not living in the family home. Maybe they are in care. So their ethnic, cultural, family and spiritual roots have been disrupted. And it would be the responsibility of whoever that they're living with to impart something good to them by being nurturing, by being loving and so forth. You know that it doesn't always happen. So we have to think about how can I play a role to make that happen? Because what happens when we move into elderhood, we will look back on our life. There are things that we would say, I would change that. And because we know we would change that, the advice that we give to those in their late childhood, to those in their adulthood and early childhood, it would be different. It's funny that because my mum, she was a disciplinarian. She was not nurturing at all. She was not a loving mum, although I knew that she loved me. but her love was shown through hardship and being firm and punishment. But now that I have children and she's a grandmother, it's completely different. I see the nurturing, I see the safe and secure environment that she has created, and that's from reflection. When we enter into adulthood, we reflect a lot more. But I don't think that we should be waiting till we're like 60 plus to reflect. We can learn the skill of reflection in adulthood. We can learn it from early childhood, but we only learn it if it's something that's been modeled to us. And that's why it's so important to understand the cycle of life. So let me just recap. During early childhood, children should feel welcomed into the family and community and made to feel safe and secure. They should be taught that they have a positive purpose based on ethnic, cultural, family, and spiritual values. During late childhood, children must learn to care about others and to handle themselves in the larger community. The family community must prepare them for both the responsibilities and the privileges of adulthood. During adulthood, we must become the teachers, caretakers, and nurturers of all those younger than ourselves. It is during this cycle that we learn to put off some of our wants to meet our children's needs. So during elderhood, we must pass on the stories and lessons of our family and culture with patience, appreciation, and acceptance. I hope you've enjoyed this episode today, and I hope it's given you a lot of food for thought. So as always, we have a think question at the end. So my think question is to you. Going back and reflecting on your early, late adulthood, even in your elderhood, whatever age that you are watching this. Think about, was you nurtured? Did you show love? Do you show love now? How do you communicate? Is it easy for you to talk about how you feel? Is it easy for you to achieve the goal that you may set for yourself? How is your mental resilience? Do you set boundaries? Think about it. I would love to know. So please drop your comments in the box below. If you have any questions for me, please put them there too. I'll be more than happy to answer them. My name is Simone Brown of Aspire to Inspire, your parent coach, youth mentor, and motivational speaker. Take care, guys.